Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the Ted Show. This is one of my favorite series on the show. Heroes always welcome. We love to bring on veterans, active duty military, families, anybody who has a business or is working in an industry, because we believe that if we can give back and inspire those veterans and active duty military and families, we can give them a place to land when they eventually get out. So I today have the distinct pleasure of having my friend Preston Davenport on the show. He is a Marine, U.S. Marine veteran, and a realtor and an entrepreneur and many, many other things. I'm going to let him explain. Welcome, Preston. How you doing?
I'm great, Ted. Thanks for having me on.
I am thankful to have you and always thankful for your service. I know a lot of vets don't know how to respond to that. I get comments all the time, but I want you to know it's heartfelt and real. So appreciate you and your service. So let's get the 411 on you. Would love to kind of know your journey from point A to military to now being an entrepreneur and a business owner. So share that with the audience if you would.
All right. So yeah, I grew up in a little town called Huntington Path, South Carolina, as a middle child of 7 kids. And my dad was a roofer, and growing up, that's what I did, was roof and worked on the farm and whatnot. And then after 9/11 and a couple years after that, decided to go into the Marine Corps.
Did anybody in your family, did you come from any military background at all?
No, not close relatives. I had one or two relatives that was, but I never met them before.
So when you made the decision, I'm always fascinated by this, and we'll get to the rest, but I love this kind of origin story and journey. When you made the decision, was your family like, you're crazy? Was your family super supportive? How was that like? Because I think it's such a big decision, because it's such a big sacrifice, in my opinion, as a civilian. What did your family say? What did your family and friends say?
Gotcha. Well, for the most part, they was very supportive. I believe my mom was super scared. It's normal. But I think it built up over the time when I did make that decision, because growing up, it was not always easy. There was years that we did without power, electricity, or water. And I always I was always getting my hands into something, or always looking for something else. Whether it's work or playing or sports, whatnot, I was trying to succeed, to escape from that home life that I had.
Wow.
And with the looking back and everything, I'm grateful what I went through, because it taught me a lot. But growing up with where you wake up after you walk across the floor joists because there's no floor in your house, or your house got burned down twice or whatnot, and all the drugs and stuff during the family and fighting, it's like, okay, build up. I'm always looking for something to do. Then at age 15, I decided to move out. I was tired of it. I wanted to get out on my own, and I bought my vehicle and moved out. And still went to school and finished school on time and whatnot.
Wow.
So in 2006, when I was already moved out, I decided, hey, I want to go in the Marine Corps. I wanted to fight, because some part of me, I was angry. Even though I grew up a very shy, kept to myself kid. But I was angry inside. So I need to get out, and wanted to be the best and wanted to fight. So that was my intention when I first signed up. So when I talked to
that was like, I love the fact that you can look back and know that was something that was part of your intention. Because I think a lot of people make a decision, whether it's military or not, and they don't really know the why, even looking back, knowing the why. So kudos to you for that. I didn't mean to interrupt, but I just
it took me a lot of time looking back and reflecting on what it really meant and what really happened. So a lot of growth has happened over the past couple of years. So when I brought it up to my mom, and my dad, and it's like, hey, my dad was very supportive. I'm already moved out on my own. I'm already doing pretty successful at age 15, 16. I was already making 1,500 a week, doing
Wow.
work, roofing and whatnot, and going to school. So when I said, hey, I'm going in the military, it all changed. Then that was my focus, and I brought it up, and they agreed. They trusted me, and they knew the situation that, hey, this is his outlet. So
So when you get in, was it everything you thought it would be? Was it super hard? Like, what was your experience, especially in the beginning? Because it's like dating and courting in the beginning, right? Before you sign up, and before you agree to spend X number of years in the military. Once you got in, what was it like?
well, when I got in, I knew it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be a lot of yelling, a lot of being told what to do, but I've been told what to do and yelled at all my life, so I was used to it. I was used to living on hard times. So through boot camp and that first initial experience, it was pretty easy because I already was in pretty good shape, and I knew with hard work, I'm good at working. So, and I will outwork anybody. So having that mindset coming straight into it, it helped me propel me further than anything else. So.
I believe it. So tell me about how many years were you in?
So I served 5 years. Within that 5 years, as a military police, I did 4 years of field side, where I operated a 50 cal machine gun,
Wow.
squad led and platoon led teams in Iraq and Afghanistan. And then my last year in, I did regular police work on base.
And so was it a choice for you to leave after 5 years? Did you want to get out and do something different? What was the reasoning behind transitioning out?
So I went to Iraq and on a pretty big team back in 08, 09, and we made it home safely. Then in 9 and 10, we went back to, or we volunteered to go to Afghanistan on a 20-man team. So, which there was a lot more activity over during that time frame in Afghanistan, where we did see a lot more of war. So, and being the leader of the 20-man team, it was eye-opening. So, which I always wanted going into the military. I knew, hey, I want to fight. I want to serve this country and everything. So having that experience, it was great. We lost a couple of friends, and we made it back too. So when I got back, I was still angry because I did lose a really good friend and my best friend. I lost. So I wanted to go back. This was before I had anything back at home because I already left home. I'm already in the military. I was not married, and basically, I'm ready to fight again. So I wanted to go back, but my gunny or my master sergeant at the time was like, "Hey, as long as I'm in command, you're not going back," because he was right there with me. So he basically father figured me and said, "No, you're not going back." And then during that time where I'm fighting, go back, I was stuck on regular base patrol, base police, and my now wife, after 10 years or 10 years before, she got pregnant, and that was that transition phase. Okay, I have a family now, and I'm not able to go back to fight right now, so I might as well just get out.
So when you realize that, and so you get out, and I understand the reasonings. Thank you for sharing that. Do you know what you want to do? Did you have an idea of, like, I'm always fascinated by the story. Once you get out, was there a plan, or did you have to kind of wing it or go through trial and error until you got to real estate? Did you know you wanted to do that? Kind of give us a picture of what that was like.
Yeah. So even before I went in, I was deciding to be a military or a police officer afterwards, or some type of law enforcement. So that was the reason why I chose military police, because I was able to fight and I was able to get the knowledge to do law enforcement. So when I got out, that's what I strived for, was going to law enforcement. And everything was bumping the road, and I didn't make it into the law enforcement. So my mind was like, because of how I grew up was the scarcity mindset. It's like, hey, I need to make money now. What's the fastest way? I had roofing, but there was not too many roofing jobs when I got out. So I became a truck driver, and which was pretty good. But my mindset was, hey, I was able to take care of or do that easily because I already been away for years at a time.
Right.
And it was not really affecting me. So, but it took a toll on my family. So to answer your question,
you're away forever. You're away a lot.
Every day, yeah, months at a time. So it was pretty tough on the family. So to answer your question, I didn't know what I wanted to do when I got out. So,
and now, how did you find your way to real estate?
So real estate showed up. So
it does very often, my friend.
after going through all of the stuff and whatnot, I tend to trust my gut or look at signs, of, you can call them spiritual, whatever. But I trust it where when things do show up, for some reason, I look deeper into it. So one day my wife and I are talking about jobs and whatnot, and the sign popped up from Century 21, said, hey, education class for real estate, get your license and get hired on as real estate. I told my, hey, we should do this because they're hiring 2 people to be real estate agents. So at the time she didn't want to, so I kind of just put that on the back burner. And it just kept on working. And then a couple months later, it just started showing up everywhere. And it's like, okay, I'm just going to do it. So that was back in 2015, 2016. So I got my license in 2016. And that first year, I didn't know what was going on. So I was independent. I didn't have a team or knew anything about it. So that first year, I sold 2, 3 deals, and that first couple of deals fell apart. But
it happens, my friend. It happens.
Yes. So it was a lesson learned really quick. Then once I got settled in, hey, I want to stop truck driving because I'm tired of being away. I'm tired of missing out on the family. So I got a local job doing teaching truck driving and part-time real estate. So my boss at the time said, hey, you can put signs on all the trucks if you want.
Nice.
So I put signs on all the semis, the 4 or 5 semis that we had. And being a truck driver educator, we drove around through town with my signs.
That's cool.
So then just one day it's like, hey, I want to go full time. I'm taking the leap. I found a team and I went full time back in 2018. And once I made that commitment, it changed. It changed greatly because didn't have any secure backing or anything. Just, hey, I got to
focus. You could focus 100% on it.
Exactly.
It's very hard when you're serving 2 masters, so to speak, and you've got your job that's quote unquote paying the bills and the one that you really want to get to. It's very difficult for anybody to go through that. So kudos to you for making the leap finally. So when you made the leap finally, what have you seen? What have you seen in the market? How's your transition be? Because it's one thing to be a newer agent, a newer full-time agent. That was 3-4 years ago now. What have you seen in the last 4 years?
So that first year, and when I was really, hey, I had to do the job. I get into the office at 7. I get prepped, do my role play scripts, then I will go in straight calling, whether it's cold calling or following up with leads. At the time, my team had a pretty large database. So when nobody else was in the office, I went into the office and I made 600 phone calls or 500, and I just called. Then like 3 months later, all chaos broke out and I had 30 buyers or
Wow.
because all the consistent work and going to the office and treating it like a job. So within that, between 2018 and mid 2019 of going full time, I worked my way up to 4 or 5 deals a month.
Nice.
And that was in Washington State. So north of Seattle, and everything was going well. Then in that meantime, we took a trip to Florida in 2018, and that was back in October 2018 when everything was going good. And when we got back, my wife and I looked like, hey, we think we want to move to Florida.
Sure.
So we're tired of cold. There's nothing really here, but I built my business where everything was going well. My clientele was great. And then that gut feeling showed up and said, hey, you might need to move to Florida. So, and
picked up and did it.
That's it. So at the same time with all this going on, my wife and I was planning on having a baby, our second baby. And it's like, okay, we planned it out. And during that time, we lost the baby before we had a miscarriage, which shocked everything and threw another wrench. And as we went looking back at that, or as we accepted it or kind of sat in it and just dealt with it, it's like, okay, what's the real meaning? Why is this Florida not leaving our mind? Why is it not going away when everything's good here? So we decided to pack up everything. We sold everything until we had only like 11 totes of items, like black, yellow totes. So we only had 11 totes, and we decided okay, we're moving to Florida. So we drove 5 days to Florida without a place to stay or anything. And then we came to this place and we found a new home here.
How did you build up, since you didn't know anyone here, I assume, or very few, how did you build up your business? Because real estate, any kind of entrepreneurial, is a lot about who you know and your sphere of influence, whatever the different term buzzwords are these days. How did you create that here? I think that anybody who's out there that wants to get into real estate or struggling, or anybody who's an entrepreneur, that's one thing they struggle with right up front. Hey, I've got a great idea. I have an idea. I want to do this or this, but they don't have the contacts to do it. How did you do it?
Right. So being in a new area, not knowing the location or anything, so I had to learn it all. So the first thing I did was I got a new car and I became a Uber and Lyft driver. So, and the reason why I did that was to learn the area as quick as possible. And in my mind, the quickest way to learn is by driving and still making money while I'm driving around doing it. So at the same time, I already completed my real estate license for Florida. And so I had my cars ready. So every person that I picked up, I would talk about it if they was conversational. So I talked about it, then as I'm driving 8 hours a day. And that
is so smart though. Like, one thing, I listen. And so one of the things that is consistent in your story is your consistency to a method, or your consistency to whatever you put your mind to or you're working on. I mean, I can't even imagine somebody thinking that far ahead. Hey, I'm going to talk to everybody that I am doing in this temporary job for now, so that I can get to know more people. I think that's brilliant. But that goes back to your determination. So again, I wanted to point that out. I keep thinking in my mind, if everybody was as consistent as you are in whatever they're doing, that would be huge. That would be a huge change in their lives.
Definitely. I still struggle with the consistency.
We all do. Listen, I want to be better at it. I think we all struggle with it, but I love the fact that that's a running theme in your success at whatever you have been doing.
Exactly. So then I knew from my previous, I could do it, because when I first started making my phone calls in Washington, I told my manager, I was like, hey, I'd rather get shot at than to make these phone calls any day of the week. And I just started doing it. And when I got here, I didn't know anybody. I didn't have any contacts for anybody, anything. And I probably had 4 friends so far. So I lived in an apartment. I did Uber and Lyft. And I was fortunate enough where I built my business in Washington, where it fed me for 6 to 8 months of good income and allowed me the time to really just enjoy the family and take it all in. So while I was living in an apartment, we had our dog, and I go to the dog park 2 or 3 times a day. I'll walk around, and every person I would come into, we just start talking. We just talk, see how they're doing, just try to be interested in how people actually live down here and enjoy the sunshine. Because being in the sunshine versus a cloudy
mindset, man, that goes to the brain and your thought process. I would have a hard time living in cloudy all the time.
It was brutal. So
I love the honesty.
So and it's just getting out there doing it. And as I build my database and work towards it, I just started doing my follow-ups, doing events, and just making phone calls and doing my normal real estate, and it just started flowing. And
consistency again. Back to your consistency.
Yeah, that's
you also have an entrepreneurial spirit, Preston, and I want to talk a little bit about that as we wind down. You have real estate, which you're successful at. I know you're going to say, I'm always working toward it. I continue to try to be more successful. I know I get the mindset from you now. But you also have another business. You have something else that you do based on the skills that you have.
Right. So in 2020, when all hell was breaking loose and the world's falling apart and whatnot, not for real estate, it just kind of took off.
It really did.
So, but I decided I want to help people out even more. And I made a post and said, hey, I will do a $99 gutter cleaning. Put $20 to it. And I just want to, because I was driving around looking at all these properties and nobody really taking care of their homes.
Yeah. And
coming from how I grew up, I don't like seeing that at all. So I was like, okay, how can I help somebody and give back? And so I put the post out there. Then in a month's time, I didn't have to post anymore. The handyman business blew up, and as I working out my Corolla, so I joke about it now. I had a Toyota Corolla, and I'm just going to clean people's gutters. And it's like, hey, what else can you do? Oh, I can do this. I can do this. Because that's how I grew up. I grew up doing everything at home.
Right.
And knowing real estate, that was another avenue. Hey, the more people I meet, the luckier I probably would get.
100%.
So with Handyman, it's quick. It's easy. I love doing it as a hobby. And now it's almost a full-time job as well.
You're busy. You're busy, and the market's shifted a little bit, right? So, but I feel like the handyman business, for those of us who don't know the difference between a screwdriver and a hammer, it is so important to have somebody that you can trust out there that does that kind of work, because not everybody's built or trained or has the skill set to do it. So kudos to you. You have 2 entrepreneurial things going on, because that's your spirit.
Right.
So let me ask you before we head out, we have your website scrolling across, pdhomes.org. is scrolling across the bottom. That's how they can reach you on anything real estate, correct?
Okay. Right.
They can also reach you there or on social media as well. I'll let you give all of that. But I always like to ask a personal question as we wrap up, because I think that when people, especially veterans who are watching and wondering, they go, all right, I love Preston's journey. I always like to throw a little personal stuff in, even though you did an amazing job, my friend, by the way, sharing personal. So thank you for that.
Mm-hmm.
When I say the word hero to you, who is the first person that comes to mind?
Oh, my best friend. So
tell me why.
Him and I volunteered at the same time, and we volunteered to go to Afghanistan and lead this 20-man team. He was going to take a squad, and I'd take a squad. So we took 20 young guys to Afghanistan, and was dropped off on the outskirts of a city. And before we left, he found out that he had a child coming, a baby boy coming on the way. And he was supposed to be born in June. So we got to Afghanistan in May, and then his boy was supposed to be born in September, and we got to Afghanistan in May, and June we came on our mission. And during that mission, he got hit by IED beside me. And before that happened, as we walking down the road and doing our job and mine sweeping with the metal detector to look for IEDs, I told him, hey, give me that metal detector because I don't have anybody to go to. I'm the only one. And you have a family. I told him 3 times, hey, give me it. And he said no. Now that 3rd time, he's like, hey, I have a child to take my name and you don't, so I'm keeping this. And he got hit by IED and passed away. So in September, when his boy was born, I came home for the 2 weeks of leave, and cut the umbilical cord, and then went back to Afghanistan to finish the tour. Wow. So that's why I'm not a hero. He's the hero for taking it. So.
Okay. Didn't expect to get all choked up today. That's a beautiful, beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. I think that when people like me say thank you for your service, I love to thank all veterans and active military and their families, because the sacrifices that you make every day and the ultimate sacrifice that so many have made, we just need to continue to be grateful for everything that you all do. If Rob was on here, he'd say I didn't do service during the time where it was war, but it's still service. It's still service right to our country. It's still such an honorable thing to do. So thank you for sharing that story. All right. So I already said it once, but Preston, tell them the best way that they can find you and find out more about real estate, handyman, and anything else you want to share. What's the best way for them to find you?
The best way either will be through social media, either on Instagram or Facebook at Preston Davenport. It's either Preston Davenport or Preston L. Davenport on Facebook and social media. So.
Fantastic. Thank you again, my friend, for coming on. You did an amazing job. See, I barely did anything. You told your story, but I can guarantee you that story is going to motivate and inspire someone. So thank you for opening your heart to us. If you all have a veteran, it doesn't have to be in real estate, somebody who is out and has a business, wants to get into business, has a journey or a story, we'd love to have you on, because in my mind, as a civilian who's never served, all of you are heroes, and heroes are always welcome here. So thank you, Preston. Thank you, everybody. Have a good one. God bless. Be good to your military friends and family. All support them. They need it.